Hello, my name is Kathy Farrell. I'm an instructor here at Greenville Technical College, and I am going to review with you the laboratory safety guidelines for all biology labs that are conducted here at Greenville Tech. There is the lab guideline document in a folder on Blackboard, and you are required to read this document and note that you have accepted the terms before you'll be able to participate in biology classes here at Greenville Tech. I will walk through each of the criteria with you so that everyone has an understanding. And if there is a question at all involved with any of the criteria, please be sure to email your instructor. There will be possible assessment associated with your viewing this video and becoming familiar with the safety guidelines. So let's get started. The first criteria is to be sure that you notify your instructor immediately if you're pregnant, if you have any type of allergies to chemicals that you know of, if you're on medication or have a medical condition that may require any type of precautionary measures that we would have to use here in the laboratory. There have been many hundreds of individuals that are pregnant that have gone through the Biology 101 labs without any incident whatsoever. So pregnancy has never been a problem in our laboratories. Secondly, when you enter the lab, you want to be sure to place your books, coats, purses, backpacks, etc. in an area close to you, perhaps at your feet under the desk. You may put them on the top of the desk when you first come in, but note that they will have to eventually be moved. There is a space at your feet that will accommodate your backpacks. One of the problems that we have is a limited amount of space, so if backpacks are in the walkway, they do present a trip hazard. So making sure that our backpacks, purses, coats, books are not in the walkways is very important. The third criteria is that we want you to locate and learn the identity of exits, fire extinguishers, and that sort of thing. And we're in room 308 on the third floor, and of course there's one exit right here, the door that you came in. There is a second exit that leads to the laboratory prep area, but as you enter here and turn to the right, there is an exit that leads to the outside hallway as well. So we have two exits. We have over in this same area, there is a safety fire blanket, and the blanket is contained in an orange case. You would unzip this certainly and wrap up the individual in distress. We have spill kits that are available that will react with different types of spills. This one would be for acids. Here is for a solvent. This is a carbon-based product. We have safety first aid kits that are also located on that same shelf. The second exit over here has the fire extinguisher hanging on a hook. This fire extinguisher is checked every month by the appropriate individuals here at the school. We also have a chemical shower that is here, the valve that you would push to activate the shower. The water comes out at quite a strong speed, and it will fill the floor very quickly, so it would douse any type of chemical spill that you might have gotten on yourself. We also have an eye wash station that's here. This contains saline solution. Those of you that have contact lenses are familiar with saline solution, and you simply snap off the top and shower your eye with the saline solution to rinse any particular compound that may have get spilled and splashed into your eyes. We've got a broken glass container that is separate from normal trash. The glass container is over here. You can hear that there are glass pieces in here. If you break a beaker, test tube, It's notify your instructor. The pieces will go in this container rather than the typical trash, so they can be disposed of properly. The brooms, your instructor can be involved or control the cleanup. With the broom, we have dustpans, and I simply would take care of the cleanup as far as the glass. It's not a big deal. We have plenty of glassware that we can replace. Just the biggest concern for us is that you don't get cut. The incident that might occur where you would hear a siren that we would have to evacuate the building, evacuate the room. We have a standard procedure is you would simply leave through this door or that door, proceed down the hallway to the right, and there's a stairwell outside this door, this classroom that leads down to the first floor. The next criteria that's involved in keeping everyone safe here at Greenville Tech while you're in a biology lab involves not eating, drinking, smoking, or applying cosmetics in the laboratory. This can create a safety issue in that there are other classes that use these benches, and we're not exactly sure what may have been on these benches, what compounds, and they may not have been wiped down properly, so we wouldn't want you to have any type of contamination that way. Confining your long hair, if indeed you have long hair. We do have incidents where we use heat, and if you lean forward, your long hair might drape onto a hot plate. It may get into the solutions that we're using. You may have clothing. If you don't have long hair, you may have sleeves that are quite open and that would drag across things. So be careful with your sleeves. You want to roll them up or take off a jacket that might be cumbersome with the sleeves. You could have a dangling piece of jewelry that when you lean over could cause problems. So be aware of your own personal characteristics that might cause you a health hazard. Don't carry test tubes by hand. We will have test tubes available for many, many experiments, and the test tubes we will have when you heat them or use them, we're going to have test tube clamps that you'll be able to hold these test tubes with. There are gloves that you'd be able to wear. We ask that you just don't carry test tubes by hand. There's also test tube racks that will be available to you so that you will be able to always put your test tubes in a rack and keep them organized and safe in that regard. You will also be required to always wear the appropriate shoes. Flip-flops, open-toed sandals are not acceptable. If you come to lab with open-toed shoes, you will be asked to leave. You will not be able to stay for the lab and participate. It isn't a problem here at winter time, but in the spring, when students start wearing flip-flops, open-toed shoes, then it becomes a problem. So I always encourage the students to put your tennis shoes or closed-toed shoes in your car so that you could run out and change in your car. A lot of girls, you can wear, you can carry ballerina flats in your book bag, and that may be a lot more convenient for you. But please note that you will not be allowed to participate in any laboratory with open-toed or flip-flops, sandals of any type, and you will have to have closed-toed shoes with you. If you have any cuts or scrapes that you're going to require a bandage on, you need to make sure that you have that covered and appropriate bandages are there before you come to lab. We ask that you wear eye protection. A standard eye protection is required for laboratories involving chemicals. We have many, many different styles of safety glasses. We have one, and all of them fit over glasses. Regular glasses are not safety glasses. They're not considered a safety device at all. So you will have to wear these safety glasses over your regular eyeglasses. And we have these styles, we have goggles, and your instructor will explain to you when you will need those for each lab. Never pipette by mouth. You will have access to pipettes. And this is one particular pipette. It comes in a sterile package. And the pipette, and you have a bulb that will always be used to draw the material up into the pipette. Never ever pipette by mouth. That's absolutely not appropriate or allowed in any laboratory. We have sinks that are available with soap, so you can always wash your hands. Here's soap. Anytime you have contamination on skin and hands, particularly, you can wash your hands and at any time it is appropriate during a laboratory. You, of course, will not perform any unauthorized experiments. You will have the experiment of the day that we're working on, and it will consume most of your time. Don't use any equipment without instruction. I will instruct you on every piece of equipment that we'll need for the lab that day. Any spill that might occur, please report it to your instructor. The instructor will clean up the spills and breakage at the time and prevent any further contamination. We will not use a flame as a heat source in the biology lab. We will use this device, which is called a hot plate. And the hot plate is a ceramic top, and it gets quite hot. And so when you're using the hot plate, you'll want to be careful to note that this ceramic top looks white, and you never know when it's hot. It doesn't change color. You don't see the flame. So you want to be careful when this is on, and when you approach a hot plate, put your hand out to detect any heat. Again, that's when you be careful with your sleeves or long hair. It could ignite around the hot plate that can get so hot. Always assume that they're hot before you would touch a hot plate. We will have the appropriate gloves and materials that will allow you to work with hot beakers and hot test tubes. Keep any container or compounds that you're working with away from direct sunlight. We also may have laboratories that involve alcohol and acetone, some solvents that are highly flammable, and we would not want to expose those to an open flame. Biology labs don't typically have open flames. The normal instruction that you've heard your whole life, electricity and water do not mix, so you'll want to keep electrical cords away from liquids. Handle everything electrical with dry hands if you can. If you find any cord that would have a fray or appear to crackle or snap, report that to your instructor. And don't pick up any broken glassware that may have happened while you were using it. You can report that to your instructor, and they will take care of the broken glass. We do have disposable gloves available for anyone who feels they may have an allergy, or when we're using dyes and pigments that you don't want to get on your hands and skin. We have every size, small, medium, large, extra large. We have latex gloves. We have the nitrile gloves for any allergies to latex. All of these gloves are available to you at any laboratory experience, so you can be responsible and pick those gloves up at any time. You'll, of course, wash your hands before you would leave lab, even after using gloves. And then finally, we are introducing to you, there is a biohazard symbol, and when you're reading the document, you'll see this biohazard symbol, which it indicates that the material associated with this may cause a health concern, and the bag that's associated with disposal of that is typically a bright orange-red color. We will point that out in the lab when we have that available. And then lastly, we have the triangle with the exclamation point. It's simply a caution symbol to bring attention to safety that this material may require a bit more focus. And we would indeed point this out again in lab from your instructor so that you stay safe. Hopefully these instructions now will help improve your laboratory experience and you will have a safe semester. Thanks so much for watching and see you in class.